Welcome back to Power Bytes by InvestorStream, a 10-part series unpacking the dynamics behind the global AI power shift while profiling one of the only ASX-listed companies established in Alberta's rapidly emerging AI data centre corridor, Kalina Power. In the first episode, we spoke about the structural demand shock building in Alberta. Today, we step back and look at the bigger picture, because what's happening in Alberta isn't isolated. It's part of a much larger story unfolding across North America, and that story is simple. The power grid was never built for AI. Data centres need a lot of electricity to operate. They often span hundreds of acres, housing physical computing and network equipment to provide data processing and storage capacity. They include resource-intensive cooling systems, backup power generation, fire suppression and security. The more power capacity the data centre has, the more data it can process simultaneously. North American utilities and grid operators are now receiving an unprecedented wave of large load applications from hyperscale data centres and AI infrastructure developers. In Alberta alone, those applications now exceed 20 gigawatts. To put that into perspective, the peak demand of the Alberta grid has reached 12 gigawatts several times over the last few years, resulting in emergency alerts and shutdowns. That means the 20 gigawatts of new load applications are already far larger than the existing grid can safely support. This is not incremental growth, but a watershed moment for power infrastructure. And the driver is clear: AI. The North American power system was built around predictable growth and long development cycles. Power plants take years to permit, transmission lines take even longer, and grid planning historically assumed gradual increases in demand. AI has shattered those assumptions. Training clusters and high-performance computing facilities require enormous amounts of electricity, often hundreds of megawatts per facility, and these loads arrive almost overnight once the site is approved. The result? Grid operators across North America are facing a bottleneck that simply didn't exist 5 years ago. There isn't enough firm dispatchable capacity ready to support the scale and speed of AI expansion. Resultant constraints in the US are already severe and set to worsen as AI demand for electricity consumption is projected to approach up to 12% of the national grid capacity total by 2030. Morgan Stanley predicts shortages of power for up to 20% of US data centers through 2028 and beyond, and there are numerous current examples of freshly built data centers not operating due to electricity constraints and no firm timeline for energization. Renewables will continue to play a key role in the energy mix, but hyperscale AI infrastructure cannot rely solely on this type of intermittent power. Data centers need predictable, uninterrupted electricity. They need power that can run continuously, respond instantly to demand, and remain stable under heavy computing loads. That means dispatchable power generation, particularly from natural gas, is emerging as a critical bridge between the current grid and the future AI economy. In many regions, gas-fired power generation is the only way to deliver reliable power at the speed and scale required by AI. This is where Kalina Power enters the conversation. Kalina is developing up to 2 gigawatts of new generation capacity in Alberta, positioned specifically to support large load demand, particularly from AI data centers. But the strategic significance goes deeper than simply building new power plants. When demand dramatically exceeds available capacity, markets begin to change. Structural undersupply of dispatchable generation creates unique opportunities for companies such as Kalina, with pricing power for their new long-duration dispatchable generation. In other words, electricity produced from new capacity becomes increasingly valuable, and projects capable of delivering reliable power into constrained grids move from optional infrastructure to essential infrastructure. Kalina's development pipeline sits directly within that dynamic. Across North America, the AI boom is colliding with a power grid that was never designed for this scale of demand. Large load applications are surging, grid capacity is constrained, and dispatchable power is becoming one of the most strategic resources in the modern digital economy. For companies positioned to develop new generation into that gap, the opportunity is significant. And Alberta, with its energy expertise, natural gas supply, and relatively streamlined regulatory environment, is rapidly emerging as one of the key battlegrounds for AI infrastructure. In the next episode of Power Bytes, we'll explore why Alberta has become one of the most attractive jurisdictions in the world for AI data centers, and why power developers are moving quickly to position themselves there. Stay tuned.